everybody. It's Pastor Bill,
And Pastor Deanna.
and we're just meeting with you today to talk a little bit more about the events of Holy Week, what's going on during the most important time of the Christian life. I'm going to just start out by letting you know what's happening here at Tillman Church the rest of the week for Holy Week.
Tonight we have worship practice at 5.
Tomorrow night we normally have prayer meeting and Bible study. We're not going to be having that this week. That is canceled just for this week.
And then Thursday night we're going to have our Seder dinner at 6, followed by foot washing. And again, come check it out. We won't force you to wash feet, but you'll be missing out if you don't.
Those of you who know Pastor Bill know that right now I'm a little bit fragile and I'm not able to participate in the actual foot washing, but I'm going to be there for the event, and just knowing that that is such a special time for Christians, a time of showing our servanthood, our humility, just the way that Jesus did.
Friday night we are going to be watching The Passion in the Sanctuary. That's at 5. We will have drinks and refreshments, but we're not going to make popcorn. And if you've got little ones and you want to come watch The Passion, there'll be a separate movie for the kiddos, and we'll have some snacks and have fun.
Saturday, a big day. Our third annual Easter egg hunt.
I can't believe it's been 3 years.
I know, and it keeps growing, and we just hope that our community just comes out and lets us show our love to the ones that are around us. The Easter egg hunt itself starts at noon. We need some people to come around 10:30 and help set up the actual place where they're going to get the eggs. And then at 11, we need some people to come to set out the eggs. And then most importantly, at noon, as many people as we have here, just to help the young people stay in bounds, stay safe by staying away from Tillman Road, and help the little ones. And then we'll pull up the stakes, and it'll take us about 10 minutes to be done. But if you can be any part of that element or all of those, if you can be here from 10:30 to 12:30 on Saturday, that would be incredible. For those of you in our community, bring your friends, bring your family, bring your neighbors, bring anyone, because this really is just for us to say, hey, Fort Wayne, our area here, we love you. We love being a part of this area and being in your community, and we just want to say thank you and we love you. So,
Did you get the final egg count today?
oh my, we have 2,822 eggs for the Easter egg hunt. So
You guys are awesome. Thank
bring
you.
those kiddos. Yes, thanks to the ones that have brought eggs and brought candy to fill those. Special shout out to Doug and Maria,
Oh
who
my
have
goodness.
filled 2,822 eggs on their own. So thanks, guys. We appreciate you.
That's a lot of eggs to put out, but don't worry, they'll be gone in 10 minutes. You don't have to tell the little ones twice, ever.
I always think there's going to be eggs left over that are going to have to end up in the pastor's office, and
Somehow they
never
never get here. Sunday morning, we've got a busy morning for you. We're going to have sunrise service at 8:30. For the worship team, just a reminder, we're practicing at 7:30. 8:30 is sunrise service. We're going to have breakfast served by your pastors at 9. And at 10:15, we're going to have our regular worship service.
What an incredible week we've got planned. And like I said, you don't have to be a part of Tillman Church. If any of this interests you, we would love for you to be a part. No strings attached, but just like Thursday night, the Seder dinner, it's just us learning about what was going on in the Bible times. Sometimes we read the Bible and things don't click or tick.
Right.
This is Pastor and I's attempt to just bring things alive. So,
Hands-on, really see and touch what's happening.
so
Speaking of Thursday, don't come hungry. It's not a fill you up kind of dinner.
good
Make
point.
sure you grab some McDonald's on your way in.
Good point. Good point. It's more of a ceremonial dinner.
Indeed. Indeed.
Gotcha.
Indeed.
So, moving on, we've been wanting to discuss the things day by day that are happening during Holy Week in the life of Jesus. And today was one of those days. There's not much in the Bible that really describes what's going on other than Jesus spent his time teaching.
Right.
And as we talked about yesterday, I think that is just incredible because Jesus knows that these people are going to turn on him.
Yep.
Jesus knows that he's right around the corner from dying on the cross, but yet he's investing every minute into the people.
Yeah.
And he even knows that those are the people that are going to turn on him and kill him. Excuse me. And it doesn't matter.
Nope.
What an attitude. And you know, every single one of us has people that have turned on us, people that have done us wrong, and the world's attitude is get back at them, you know, don't get even, stay one up.
Right.
And here's Jesus setting an incredible example because he knows what's going to happen. He knows who these people really are in their hearts,
Right.
and he still loves them.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, teaching is what's going on today. And so, since there's not a whole lot going on in Jesus' life other than spending time with the people and teaching, we wanted to do a little bit of teaching and just touch on a couple of things that really don't get incorporated anywhere else. So, do you want to talk about Passover, or you want me to go first?
Why don't you start?
Okay. One of the things that has fascinated me, not because I'm a serial killer or anything, maybe because of my deep interest and passion in the funeral industry, maybe is what does it. But capital punishment in Bible times is something that has always intrigued me. Why crucifixion is really how the thing started for me, is just asking, why crucifixion?
Right.
And so as I started studying, it even became more incredible to me because the Romans who put Jesus to death do not crucify other Romans.
Right. Yep.
Crucifixion is such a cruel and unusual punishment that they don't even do it to their own.
Yep.
Which just lends itself to how bad they really hated Jesus,
Yeah.
and how threatened those religious people were at the time, that when Jesus showed up, their lives as they knew it was going to be shattered. They weren't going to be able to take advantage of people. They weren't going to be able to steal from people and lord over them. They were going to have to get honest.
Yeah.
And they were so incredibly upset with him that they took a form of capital punishment that is never used for Romans, just to show how upset they were with him.
Yeah.
And crucifixion is described, no matter where you look, as the worst form of capital punishment. And, in Bible times, they did things like scourging. They did things like stoning. There are times where they would take people to a high cliff and push them off to their death. There was no fooling around in Bible times.
Right.
If you did the crime,
Yep.
you were going to pay the penalty.
Yep.
In the Romans, the Romans' main form of execution for crimes was beheading, because it was severe and it sent an example to the people around, but it was quick.
Yep.
And they considered it not a cruel form of punishment. The other thing that's interesting is our society, maybe from a financial standpoint, if nothing else, but our society has really embraced cremation.
Mm-hmm.
And cremation actually is an ancient Roman Bible time form of capital punishment, burning at the stake.
Yeah.
And we've all heard that term, and it actually started in Roman times, Middle Ages. And then there's one that is mentioned briefly in the Bible, and one that I've talked about. I even said Sunday you know, I kind of have a stainless steel stomach and I can handle a lot. But there's a form of Roman death that was called body of death.
Yeah, that one creeps me out.
And Paul talks about it in Romans 7, but where they actually would take a person that was condemned to death that had committed a severe crime, and they would strap them to a dead body, and they had to walk around with that body until the decay and the bacteria and all that actually seeped from that dead body into your body and killed you. Now, to me, that's pretty.
Yep, I'm with you.
It's hard to believe that anything else could be worse than that, but crucifixion, they would nail your body to the cross. Now, in medical terms, you should die of the shock,
Indeed.
if nothing else.
Yeah.
But what crucifixion actually did was, when your body got so weak that it couldn't hold you up anymore, you slumped over, and crucifixion, you actually died by suffocation.
Yep.
And again, in medical terms, the worst possible death that you can die is either drowning or suffocation. So just, I mean, there was, punishment was swift.
It was.
In Bible times. There was no appealing, there was no plea deals. You know, if you did the crime, you were getting hammered.
Yep.
But just to look at the crucifixion, you know, they went out of their way to humiliate Christ, to do whatever they could to just demoralize him, make sure that everybody knew that he wasn't a king that was above all. And just one last thing, and then I'll let you go. But we talked about it Sunday. The Romans and the religious people thought that their plan was going perfectly.
Yep.
They were getting Jesus out of their life so they could move on and continue to just torture the people, to steal from them, to minimize their lives. They thought their plan was happening according to perfection because they were getting rid of Jesus. But Jesus was saying, hey, my Father's plan is going exactly according to the way that it was planned.
Yep.
And they're going to put me to death on this cross the way that the prophets have prophesied for hundreds and thousands of years. And I'm going to die for the people that hate me the most and show them my love. And so they thought they had one up on him, and he was kind of smiling inside saying, you know what? You guys are playing right into God's plan. So,
Exactly.
Just an incredible the way God works, and we don't always understand what's happening at the time, but if we just give God a chance and we just pray and implore that His will is done, and we know that that's the best for us, we can see the outcome is His perfect plan.
Right.
We can't always see that right away, but His perfect plan is always there. So.
All right, on to Passover. Passover is one of my favorites, so I'm going to try to not be too much of a preacher today.
Today's the day of favorites. So.
Indeed. So the Passover is a Jewish celebration that actually started way back in the time of the Israelites that were enslaved in Egypt. The 10th and final plague that God brought on the Egyptians was death of the firstborn. And it was firstborn people and firstborn animals. He actually says that he himself is going to walk through. He's going to walk through Egypt, and the firstborn of everybody in every household, the firstborn son of every household is going to die. And that is in Exodus 11, by the way. I wanted to make sure I stuck that in there. But the only way for the Israelites to prevent their sons from dying was to kill as close to perfect as possible lamb that they could find and paint their doors with blood. And that brought about the name. The Lord literally passed over their home to the next home and he did it because of the blood of the Lamb. Took me a long time to pick up on that one, guys, so there you have it. The Passover lamb, that's where the name comes for Jesus. That's where the Lamb of God comes from. And the idea of the blood of the Lamb freeing us from the death that we deserve. So Passover is something that the Jewish people still celebrate today. Hundreds, thousands, however long, a long, long time they've been celebrating this. And they don't have a one-day kind of gig. Like in the Bible, this is a one-day event with the Israelites. When we talk about the Last Supper, it appears like it's just a dinner. It's a 7-day event, and they begin with the Seder dinner, which we'll be having an example of on Thursday night. And Jesus participates in the Passover dinner and the Last Supper.
The Passover was actually probably a week-long festivity, and as we dug into and figured out on Sunday, there was probably, they estimate, over 2 million people that came to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. So, man, I don't even know what we would have that would compare to that.
Yeah.
You know, things like Times Square on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, probably.
Probably this put that to shame, or any
Right,
other festivity that we can think of. So one other thing you touched on, and I just want to bring out, it's interesting to me how even people that aren't spiritual, that don't believe in God openly, but we take Bible things and they're just a part of our life.
Yeah.
And I was talking about before in law enforcement, up in my old office, I've got the Indiana Code, which is like a thick book, and it's huge, and it's all of Indiana's laws, and how many of those laws you can set a Bible and the Indiana Revised Code side by side, and man follows God's rule. And you talked about white as snow and the Lamb of God. Lambs and white are a symbol of perfection and innocence in the Bible.
They are.
And that translates into our lives, because whether you have a spiritual wedding or not, most generally the bride is dressed in white. A symbol of perfection and innocence. And so, you know, so many things that are in the Bible that we don't think about, they translate into our lives without us realizing how many things in the Bible and God's Word are a part of our life, whether we realize it, recognize it, or even want to think about it.
Yeah,
so
100%. And to tag on to your laws, a lot of the rules that happened or that came about, especially back in Leviticus time, they were functional. They weren't just like, oh, I'm God and you can't do things. They were there for a purpose, whether it was sanitation or health or whatever. A lot of them were very functional and very still relevant today.
Absolutely. And I just have to say, you know what? I love our country. I wouldn't live anywhere else. But there's a lot of things in our country right now that just aren't right.
Right.
But if you look at the things that plague us, murder, adultery, look at, you know, even people that claim to know God. Divorce rate is over 60% now, even in people that believe in the Bible and call Christ their Lord. But if you look at adultery and you look at divorce and you look at murder and you look at stealing and those things in the Bible, they were dealt with swiftly.
Crucifixion, very much.
You know, the stoning. You know, if a woman was caught in adultery, she was stoned to death. Period, plain and simple.
And it was right there. It wasn't like 5 minutes later. You know what I mean?
And because people saw that, all these things were open in public.
They were.
Because people saw that, they had an incentive to live by God's law. And we have those things, you know, it's against the law to commit adultery
Mhm.
by man's law, by Indiana Revised Code.
Right.
But we don't even think about that. It just runs so rampant.
Yeah.
But if we would get back to what the Bible teaches us, you know, the things like overdose and divorce and murder and theft and all those things, they might not go away, but they would sure look very different and
Mhm.
wouldn't be so prevalent in our societies today. So,
Yeah. 100%.
anyhow, got off on a tangent there, but just goes back to, I kind of think that if we'd open the book,
We know.
we'd know, and if we'd know, then we could make things look a lot different.
Mhm.
So
Indeed.
anyhow, hey, if you have any questions, if you need some details for some of the festivities this week, or like I said, maybe you don't call Tillman Church your home, but hey, interested in this, like to learn more about this or see what Tillman Church is all about, give me a call, give me a text, 260-433-4404. You can grab a hold of Pastor Deanna if you want to.
Mine is 260-348-2561.
So if you're interested in Easter activities, if you're interested in learning about the church, if you're in need of services of a pastor, weddings, funerals, whatever, just give us a call.
Yeah.
We'd love to be a part of your life. We enjoy being in the community and we love you, and we want to serve you in any way that we can. So keep that in mind. Until tomorrow at noon, hope you have a great day. Looks like there's some severe weather headed Fort Wayne's way, so be safe, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day, guys.